So I welcome you for the fourth semester class. So I'm going to handle for you the analog circuits class. Now in this, let us see what and all you are going to study in the analog circuit. But before go to this analog circuit, what are the things you need to know, or sometimes I can say the prerequisite record for this class. The one thing is you should have uh, the basic concepts in the basic electronics like BJT, MOSFET, then operation amplifier. The second thing is like we need to know the Kirchhoff's voltage law and the Kirchhoff's current law. Third thing, you must to know the Thevenin's theorem. So better before to attend this class, I hope you people has to go through the Thevenin's theorem as well as the superposition theorem. This is much required here. What you are going to study in this analog circuit? The previous semester you studied the electronic devices. In the sense, everything like the electronic devices in the sense like the very basic devices are used for electronics, or I can say from the materials. You might have studied so much of materials like from the scratch of the PN junction diode, so as well as from the chemicals, from the chemistry. I think you might have studied from the chemistry. Now here what you are going to, it's a completely a quantitative approach. This analog circuit subject is completely a quantitative approach in the sense it is not a complete theory subject. It is not a complete theory. It's a completely a quantitative approach. Here we are going to study everything in quantitative analysis. Like I need to say things like the biasings we are going to study. Then we are going to study about something like the model, small signal model and the large signal model. So these are the things we are going to study. So now as of first module, we need to know whatever things we are going to study in the module 1. The module 1, which will be consist of like BJT biasing. Like we are going to study the biasing in BJT amplifier circuit, but straight away we cannot study the biasing in BJT amplifier circuit. Before that, you should have something about the BJT transistor BJT. Then we need to know what is biasing. Then we should know why do we need biasing. Then we should know how the BJT will be act as an amplifier. Then we have to go some different types of biasing. In that, we are going to use only 2 different types of biasing only we are going to study. Next thing is the small signal operation and models. So this will study. Next, we'll study about the MOSFET. In the MOSFET also, we are going to study the same thing, the biasing in MOS amplifier circuit. And second thing is the small signal operation and the modeling. Here for this course, I'll suggest you for the book which is given for you. It's like that given 2 books they given actually. The books are, the one is the book is the Microelectronic Circuit Theory and Application by Adel Sedra or Kenneth C. Smith. Sometimes they may call Sedra Smith. So it's a 6th edition book. That is the one thing. The second thing is the op-amp and linear integrated circuit by Ramakant A. Gaikwad. So this is the one of the book which will use for the modules. Which are the modules in the sense? Say example, I want to say module 3, 4 and 5 will use the text only. So exactly if you want to say 2.5 module from one text, 2.5 module from the second text. Third thing I need to say about here, very important thing. Even you may think so many plenty of materials are available for this in the web also for this course. So I suggest you to go and refer in the NPTEL. That is, there is a course called as NPTEL, which is organized by IIT Madras. So there also you can see the microelectronic circuits, then analog circuits, not analog means analog electronics circuits, that kind will be there, you can see. Next here, I can say, even still you want more information about this subject, you can go through the reference book which is given, that is the electronic device and the circuit theory by Boyce. This book is one of the very good book. If you want to know like basics, everything you want to study, so I'll suggest you go for Robert Boyce book. It's one of the very good book. Next, even one of the fantastic book which you can go for, The Fundamentals of Microelectronics by Beget Razavi. Even this author, the Beget Razavi author, the video lecture about this subject which is available in the YouTube. So it is one of the very good lecture. You can see that lecture. So you can learn so many things when you go for the Beget Razavi. In the YouTube, it's available actually. The third one is there's a Millman and Alkis, the integrated circuit. This is one of the book. So totally, these are the books they are going to use, but as per the prescribed, we'll study about this and this. So about this book, even this ebook also is available. So I will share the book with you shortly about the soft copy of the book. We can go through so many examples. Very important thing here. Here we are going to read about completely not a theoretical approach. We are going to approach this like a quantitative side in the sense these are derivations. Next, second thing is like a so much of problems really. For each and every concept, there will be a numericals. So I insist you to not only to listen the lecture, I also request you people to keep one notebook, separate notebook for analog circuit. Just you put the derivation, you write by your own self, then you can understand the subject so very clearly. I hope you understood this, whatever this I said. Is it clear? Okay, so let us start with the beginning like a BJT. So as we know, the BJT is nothing but a bipolar junction transistor. Where this bipolar junction transistor, in the sense I can say it has the by two like the current will enter and leave one direction. The current will enter in one direction. The current will be in the other direction, like in two-way. I can say. The second thing is if I want to say like a so now this is the structure which is showing about the BJT. One is the NPN transistor and the another one is PNP transistor here. Now here we are having the N type is emitter region, the P type is base region, and the N type is collector region. So this is nothing but your NPN transistor. So this will be a PNP transistor. So here we'll have the metal contact. There is a metal contact over there. Then emitter, base, collector. So this junction, this is I can call as junction J1, the junction J1. Then this I can junction J2. Totally two junctions will be available. Next, when I'm going for the current, if I say, if you want to talk about current here in the sense like the current which will enter into the base, the current which will leave from the emitter, the current which will enter to the collector. See, this is what I can say. The color is nothing but this is nothing but your IE. I can say the current is IE. Then this current is nothing but IC. I can say then this current is nothing but IB. So as you know, when I'm applying a Kirchhoff's current law, then what will be the equation we'll get? Like the amount of current which enters into the node will be equivalent to the sum of the amount, the current which is leaving from the node. So we can write as IE, right? IE is equal to IB plus IC. IE is equal to IB plus IC. This is the expression actually. Now we want to know like the BJT will be acting in some three modes of operation, because normally the BJT can be act as a switch, BJT can be act as a amplifier, BJT will be act as a either switch or it can be active as a amplifier also. So to make that, so you need to know in which mode you have to operate the transistor. So like how we can operate the transistor in the sense simple, I can see the mode, three modes of operation. The one is cutoff mode, second one is active mode, third one is saturation mode. Now to operate the device, or the device will be in cutoff mode when actually will be in the emitter based junction will be in reverse bias, then collector based junction will be in reverse bias. When both the things are in like this is the transistor, the symbol which you know already very well for NPN will be like this. This will be a B, this is C, this is E. So I can say emitter base. This will be a reverse bias, then collector base will be reverse bias. When these are both or reverse bias, then it will be in the cutoff region. During the cutoff mode, the transistor will not conduct. The second thing is I want to say here, the BJT is a current controlled device. Why? Because the input is a current, that is IB, the small amount of current which will give the large amount variation in the collector current, because the output will be taken from the terminal, collector terminal. So the output will be C. So I'd say current controlled device. The current only is controlling the device. Next, if you want to act or if you want to work this device as in a active mode, when it will be working in the active mode in the sense the same like the emitter base or emitter base junction should be in the forward bias, then here it will be in the reverse bias, that is plus and minus, then the transistor will be in active. So if the transistor is active in the sense, I can say this is like a cutoff means I can say the device is off. Correct. So when it will be active, the active is nothing but the transistor is on. So when it will be on actually, so you need to apply the voltage, that is the voltage across base and emitter. The VBE is equal to approximately 0.7 volt. When you apply the voltage across the base and emitter 0.7, or if it is exceeds 0.7, then the device will be in active condition, means it is on actually. So only forward and reverse. Now, if both the terminals are in forward bias, then the transistor or the device will enter into the saturation region. What is this? In the during the saturation region only, the BJT transistor will act as amplifier. There will be a question they'll ask when the BJT will act as an amplifier. So when you are out, so to make or to use the BJT as an amplifier, you need to operate the device in the saturation mode. If you need to use the same BJT as a switch, then you have to use the device in the cutoff and active this region. So based on this only, we may get like how we can operate the device. Let us take how the BJT will be used as an amplifier. BJT as an amplifier. So what is meant by amplifier? The amplifier is nothing but the strengthening the input signal. That is, it's converting the weak signal into strong signal. That only is nothing but amplifier without changing its characteristics. Now what we'll do, let us analyze how the BJT will act as an amplifier. How we are saying the BJT as an amplifier. So for that, let us consider here one NPN transistor. So this is nothing but a NPN transistor, NPN. Then just these are the terminals. So totally for amplifier, total 3 terminals will be like this is the one terminals. Here terminals here. So this will be your input terminal. This will be your, that is like plus minus. This is V out terminal. Then this will be a emitter terminal. This is the collector. This is base. So now from this we can say I'm going to take Vi is equal to 200. I'm going to choose V in is equal to, that is Vi is equal to 200 millivolt. Then second thing is I'm going to take, this is nothing but a IE. This is a IE. This will be IC. This is the current is IB. So as you know the direction, how it will be, the emitter current will flow like this. Then collector current also will go inside. Then base current also move inside. Now let us do something. One more we need to do here. We have to add in output. In the output, we have to add a one resistance. This resistance we'll name it as RL, that is load resistance. Now what we'll do, let us consider this amplifier. So amplifier in the sense you need to assume we are operating in a active region, because we are going to consider this as an amplifier. So if you want to activate region, what will do? Emitter base should be forward bias. Then collector base also should be forward bias. Both are forward bias, then we can operate in active region. So first, what we will do, let us consider here from the input side. So for the input side, let me consider the slope, like example, this will be nothing but your input. Input, what is the current? Actually, the input side is nothing but the emitter current, right? It's an emitter current. Now, what is the relation here actually? As the input voltage is increases, automatically what will happen here by slope, like as soon as it reaches VTH, then you get a slope as like this. Then from this, I can say this is the slope. This is the slope. We can say what is the slope size here? Normally, the slope will be like it's a inversion purpose. So I can say the slope is equal to 1 by R. It is not linearly, it is inversely proportional actually, 1 by R. So from this, I can say it is we need to see the input resistance as was the output resistance we need to see. That is Ri, I say. This is the input resistance will be there. Then output resistance also we have to see from the output side, that I will take it as R0. Now I'll say this is 1 by R1, that is nothing but Ri, I'll say. As the Ri, the input resistance is increases, then what will happen? The slope also will get increased. This slope will get increased. So I can say very simple, the input resistance from this, I can say slope also will get increased. Sorry, this one, right? I made a mistake here. If the input resistance is reduces, then the slope will get increases. So simple, from this I can say the input resistance is small or very low, I can say. Then what about the output resistance? Just let it take the output side. This is nothing but a x-axis, nothing but the output voltage V0. then the current is nothing but which current? It is the IC current. Because output side the current is IC current. How it will be in the sense, you'll have the graph is like this. Because as the V out, here we'll get in this way. So from this, the slope will be like this. The slope will be S is equal to R naught is linear H R naught. Like what will happen? R naught get increases, then slope also will be increases. So I can say the output resistance will be very high. So what you need, we have to make an assumption now. So let us make an assumption like Rn is equal to 20 ohm and R out is equal to 1 mega ohm or 1 mega ohm, or I can consider as 100 kilo ohm. Just these are the assumptions we are making, because from this only we are taking the input resistance is small. So we choose a small 20 ohm, but the output is will be very high actually. So we are choosing as mega ohm, 1 mega ohm or 100 kilo ohm we choose. So now let us say from the input side, let us take example, that is V in is equal to the expression. What is the V in actually? Let us apply the current here actually. So you consider, you apply V is equal to IR normally, right? That is nothing but I into R, or V is equal to IR. Let us take like this only better. So V is equal to, as you know this earlier already. So from this, what I'll say, V in is equal to I. The current input current is what? IE actually. It is IE plus, sorry, IE dot R in. R is input resistance. Now from this, what will be? Consider, find out the IE actually. IE is equal to, that is I suffix C. So I am writing this is I suffix C. I suffix C is equal to V in divided by R in. So now I'll write as I suffix C is equal to V in is how much? It is 200 millivolt. 200 millivolt divided by R in is how much we chosen? We took the value as R in is equal to 20 ohm. So 20 ohm actually, it is 20 ohm. So now what is the IE will get? IE is equal to 200 millivolt by 20 ohm. The value will be 10 milliampere. That is IE. Now let us, we know that the IC expression, I suffix C is equal to alpha, that is A, just capital A. I am saying A is nothing but alpha actually. You consider this one alpha IE plus ICBO. So normally the ICBO is very small value. It's some kind of like a collected to base. The leakage current is very small. That is negotiable, or we can negligent that. So we will get us neglect the ICO because of ICR. You can say like this: ICB ICBO is very small. Then what will happen? IC will be equal to alpha into IE. Let me write if you want in this way. So let me write. Okay, IC equal to is equal to alpha into IE, because it is neglectable. So from this I can write IC is equal to, or approximately is equal to IE. Why? Because where the alpha value will be ranges from 0.95, alpha value from 0.95 to 0.98. Okay, so it is very small value, almost is equal to 1. That is why IC is almost is B is equal to IE. So from this I can say IC is equal to, already we know the value of IE, that is nothing but 10 milliampere. So the collector current is 10 milliampere. So now let us calculate the output voltage. To calculate the output voltage, that is V naught from this figure, just to see from the output side, what will be the current V is equal to IR, that is IC into RL. So IC into RL from the output. So IC into RL. Then what is IC value? It is a 10 milliampere. So 10 milliampere into what is the RL? RL is nothing but your output resistance, I can say, or let us consider RL is something called as 5 kilo ohm. Just we assume like this. Normally, load resistance will be very high value will be there, 5 kilo ohm. Let us consider as 5 kilo ohm. So 5 kilo ohm. So now how much it is now? It is nothing but a 50 volt. That is V naught. Now let us calculate the amplification. That is the voltage gain. What is the voltage gain? The voltage gain is nothing but the ratio of the output voltage to the input voltage. That is V naught by Vi. So it's equal to V naught is nothing but 50 volt. Vi is equal to 200 millivolts. So what is the value here? It is nothing but 50. So from this, they can summarize that the output voltage is amplifying 50 times of your input voltage. That is what we can say the BJT is an amplifier. So here the input is 200. So this is the input. So I'm getting the output as yes. So it is a 200 millivolt is amplitude here. It is a 200 millivolt. Picture I'm getting as 50 millivolt. So same the way even we can calculate the current gain also here. The current gain how we can calculate the sense the ratio of the collector current to the emitter current, that is nothing but IC by IE. That is IC by IE only is nothing but current gain you can say, where IC is equal to normally the expression will be like this, where IC is equal to alpha into IE. Where the alpha value is nothing but already we know it is almost range from 0.95 to 0.98, almost 1. So I can say IC almost approximately will be equal to IE. That is why we can say in your transistor, like you see, this is the transistor, right? This is the transistor. What is the current we are getting? This is IC current. So this will be a IE current. So now the same current will be flow even here also. Only there's some very small changes will be. That is why I can say IC is equal to IE. Next, we need to know about the biasing. That is what is transistor biasing. What is the transistor biasing? It is the proper flow of zero signal collector current and the maintenance of proper collector emitter voltage during the passage of signal is known as transistor biasing. So the circuit which provides transistor biasing sometimes we call as biasing circuit. So why do we need the bias actually in the science? Some example. So if take example, if a signal of very small voltage is given to the input of the BJT. Okay, it cannot be amplified because for BJT to amplify signals, two conditions must be met. So you have to be very careful here. So like if a signal of very small voltage is given to the input of BJT, it cannot be amplified because for BJT to amplify a signal, two conditions have to be met. What are the two conditions? The condition number one, the input voltage exceeds the cut-in voltage for the transistor to be on first. So the input voltage must be greater than 0.7. The cut-in voltage means it's a 0.7 volt. Second is the BJT should be in the active region. So then to be operated as a amplifier because only the biasing will be done only for the amplifier. So first thing is you have to input voltage should be crossed than more than 0.7 voltage for transistor to be on. Second is the BJT should be in the active region to be operated in an amplifier. So if appropriate DC voltages and currents are given through BJT by external source so that the BJT will operate in an active region and superimpose the AC signals to be amplified. Then this problem can be avoided. Normally what will happen, so along with the DC, because just when you are going to operate any input bias, in the sense you will connect the DC supply. That is what I can say biasing actually, DC. Sometimes if you want to superimpose the AC signal to be amplified, sometimes because even you need to amplify the AC signals also. At the time, what will happen if you not do or not done any proper biasing, so that it won't be amplified properly. So very simple example is, so to amplify the AC signal, then the biasing is must. So the given DC voltage and the currents are chosen that the transistor will be remain in a active region for entire input AC cycle. Hence, the DC biasing is needed. So only here, so many different types of biasings are there. Here we'll use some two different DC sources. One is the BBB they'll call, because we are connected with the B. Another one is VCC they'll call. Normally it is economical to minimize the DC source to one supply instead of two, which also make the circuit very simple. So that is the reason we are going for this biasings here. Some different, four different types of biasings are there. One is base resistor method, second is collector to base bias, third one is biasing with the collector feedback resistor, fourth one is voltage divider bias. Here we are going to study only two biasings only.